You don't have to finish the puzzle to move forward. So I've been talking with Beth a lot over the last couple of weeks. And I think the last time we were out walking, I started to talk to her about this image I had of a puzzle. And part of that was generated from conversations we've had with our financial planner. And every single time we have a conversation with our financial planner, it's almost like Um, we don't want to retire in the same way that others might. And most of the models that financial planners use are sort of geared towards like accumulating wealth for the end of your life, to leave as a legacy or to support the person who's going to be might be left behind when one of you dies, or for grandchildren or children in that space. And so Beth and I have no children. We have no grandchildren to leave anything to. We are quite okay with our legacy being what our legacy is. And so we've been talking about like wanting to sort of look at that model a little differently. So the front end being like our go-go years where we're traveling more, we're doing more adventures, we might be spending more money. And there might be some slow go years and then your no-go years. And so it was just interesting because every turn we took, it felt like the picture we had or the piece that we had that we wanted to fit into our puzzle was always the wrong shape. It just wasn't going to work. And there was another example of something else that was sort of similar where it was wanting to do something, but to get to what you wanted to do required like hoops that you really didn't need to jump through. And it it got me thinking about this image or this idea of puzzles. And sometimes if you like, I look at my life like a puzzle, I'm visually looking at it and I see that there are lots of empty spaces. And sometimes I think for me, it's like I might focus on the empty space. Like I got to figure that out. I've got to make sure that I've got something that fits in there so then I can move on to the next thing. And I was saying to Beth is that I don't think I have to fill those spaces. I don't have to wait to do the next thing until that space is filled. Um, or I don't have to figure it out right at this moment. And maybe sometimes I don't even need to figure it out. And so the thinking about like puzzles, I think if we look at our lives as a puzzle and we are only focused on the missing pieces, which is what usually happens when you're doing a puzzle, you're like, where's this piece that fits in here? And it maybe you don't need it to move on. And so that was really freeing to think about like, oh, I don't need that piece of the puzzle to move on. I don't need that piece of the puzzle to think about my retirement. Um, it's good to be informed and have some information and data to be able to move forward, but that's not the only piece of the puzzle. There's other pieces. I'm thinking about the strength training um, that I've been doing and the InBody scan that I posted about the other day. That was one piece of data, but I've got all these other pieces of data. And if I just said, "Oh, it didn't work. I give up. I'm not going to do it," then I would be ignoring the pieces of the puzzle I've already put in place, like my nutrition, my daily exercise, my mobility, but like all, doing a high rocks, like just challenging myself physically with my body. And so I could have focused on all the empty parts of that puzzle, but I choose to focus on the big picture and the things that I've done already. And of course, I my brain goes into whole like other areas. So I got a whole thing about jigsaws then. I was like, okay, so if I think about jigsaw puzzles, I was saying to Beth, I do like to do the corners and the edges first because it sort of tells me the parameters of what I'm working with. Or it might tell me, um, I need to expand the parameters of where I'm playing, like what the size of this jigsaw puzzle is or this image is that I want to work on. So I was thinking about like what if when we look at the sort of borders of what we're doing is sometimes we might make those borders too small, and actually maybe we could dream a little bigger, or maybe we could add an extra piece to make it longer on each side so that you are actually building a much bigger picture for yourself, that you get to fill in with whatever you want. Um, yeah, this puzzle thing got a bit like, oh, more ideas, and it reminded me of two examples. One which was a family puzzle when we were at my brother's house, when we were visiting, and they had a puzzle out that was out, and for the whole month that we were in and out and staying there, every single day, more and more of the puzzle got done because there were lots of eyes on it, new eyes. Like people would work at it until they couldn't see where the next piece of the picture was. And it made me think about, yeah, when you are creating a life and you're creating the things that you need to get your vision realized, is that you need different people and you need time. Like it takes time. So, I've started posting on YouTube and I'm trying to post consistently, but what I need is different people, new eyes to give me information, feedback, to challenge me, to hold me accountable and hold myself accountable. And so I think like this puzzle analogy for me got me really thinking about all these aspects of my life. One is that when you are creating something that you want others to participate in, that you need to include them in that creation with you. And the other piece of it, and I've always felt this since I was like little, that um, I always felt like I was a little out of the norm, out of the tradition, right? Being a lesbian, I was out of the norm. Um, being like a little bit of rebellious when I was younger, I was out of the norm. It was I was a questioner. I questioned lots of things, and I really have this fond memory of a puzzle where some of the pieces were like odd shapes, that weren't traditional jigsaw shapes, but it was inside a jigsaw puzzle. And I remember loving that puzzle because I loved that the odd shaped pieces fitted, even though it didn't seem like they would. And so I was thinking about what if to move forward with a dream, a goal, a choice, a decision that you're making, that you don't need every single piece to move forward with that action or taking the first action. And what if the odd shaped pieces or the odd shaped moments or the things that don't feel exactly right are actually the exact right thing to do? And so from now on, I'm going to be trusting my gut a little bit more and maybe connecting to when it doesn't feel exactly right. Is an indication that I maybe need to push a little bit more, and maybe that's the thing that is actually the right thing to do. So if you are interested in exploring this idea of being able to move forward, even though you don't have all the pieces, or thinking about like maybe the thing that feels the most odd is the actual thing that we should be doing, why don't you come and join our Bold Moves monthly group that meets monthly, hence the name. And there's a link in the description below that links you to the Stan Store where you can sign up and subscribe to that if you wish. The other thing is subscribe to the channel, like this video, and why don't you like use an emoji, a puzzle piece emoji, and share with me like what's the missing piece you need to let go of?